Sweden literally gained nothing from staying open during COVID-19, including no economic gains.
Here's a summary of the article.
In the messy panoply of global responses to the COVID-19 pandemic, Sweden stands out. Unlike its Nordic and European peers, Sweden decided early on for a soft approach, foregoing lockdowns for subtle changes to commerce and entertainment, voluntary mitigation guidelines, and encouraging working from home. This is what has happened, economic correspondent Peter S. Goodman reports in The New York Times. Not only have thousands more people died than in neighboring countries that imposed lockdowns, but Sweden's economy has fared little better. It's a self-inflicted wound, and they have no economic gains. Sweden did see slightly less contraction in the first quarter, but now its economic pain is essentially equal to its Nordic neighbors. Ironically, Bloomberg News reports, the social distancing requirements in Sweden are now more stringent than in Denmark, Norway, and Finland, all of which opted for strict lockdowns early on. Sweden's 5,420 COVID-19 deaths may not seem like much compared with 130,000 in the US, but per capita that works out to 40% more fatalities than in the US and 12 times more than Norway, 7 times more than Finland, and 6 times more than Denmark, The Times notes. 3 months into the pandemic, Sweden's grim result, more death, and nearly equal economic damage, suggests that the supposed choice between lives and paychecks is a false one, Goodman writes.
This post received a score of 56,000, with an upvote ratio of 81%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
The full fallout is still not known. Europe will open fire tourism again for people living in Europe on the 15th this month. But tourists will not be allowed to go to Sweden.
Last month. We've been able to move freely around most of Europe since June 15. Fact, I had Swedish friends visit our German city last week, so I'm not sure where you're getting this information. We also have a list of allowed countries that's continuously updating. The US isn't on there, but many countries, approximately 50, are currently allowed to visit Europe freely.
Like just today, there was a woman in the news who moved to Australia like 3 weeks ago from Sweden. Swedes can travel more than people seem to think here. It's kinda hard to limit their movement considering how interconnected Europe is. For you US citizens, imagine trying to stop people from crossing state borders. That's probably almost similarly impossible.
Greater than for you US citizens, imagine trying to stop people from crossing state borders. That's probably almost similarly impossible. Close to impossible, yeah. A few states started banning individuals from certain other states from entering, but honestly I never heard of anyone actually being stopped.
I wasn't stopped, but I was yelled by some random people in the parking lot of my local grocery store because my car is in the shop and my rental has out-of-state plates. Took me a second to figure out why they were telling me to go back to Tennessee when I've never been there lol.
Well, did you go back to Tennessee like they said? I too am wondering. I'll be waiting for you here.
Did they avoid economic loss though? Saying they had no economic gains is the wrong fucking factor to be looking at LMAO. The UK economy for example shrank 25%, the same amount it increased by over the past 18 years.
They have fared well compared to the rest.
This should be the headline. GDP losses in Sweden nearly half that of other EU countries.
But that doesn't further their agenda. The criticism of Sweden's corona strategy is valid, but using no economic gains as an argument is just nonsense.
The criticism of Sweden's policy right now isn't valid. The pandemic isn't even halfway over and resurgences could happen in just about every other country that is currently taking a victory lap. Sweden's entire argument was that it recognized eventually everyone would get infected and preferred to let that happen on a consistent timeline without shutting down its economy, and argued that every other nation would also be totally infected so shutting down the economy and reopening wouldn't have any impact. Essentially, either you stay open and everyone gets infected when they get infected, or you shut down and sway infections by a few months until you reopen and then get infected.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.